I'm going to be introducing our second speaker, Jason David. He is the founder of Jayden's Juice on his quest to find a cure for his son, Jayden.
Thank you. So I'm not sure if you guys all know my stories. I heard a lot of questions that were really, everyone has their own opinion. Dr. Frankel hit a lot of parts on a lot of aspects. A little bit different from me. I live it every day. From my son, and I've weaned my son down from 22 pills down to 1. My son was having seizures since he was 4 months old, 1,000 myclonics a day, grand mal for an hour and a half. Thank God I was the first one to ever give medical marijuana to a child on national television 7 years ago. I'm the one that taught Charlotte's mom. She used to use R4, it was an AC/DC strain in Colorado from a company called Greenworks, switched over to a hemp product. What it is for me, it's not just CBD. CBD now has become a gimmick. It's about branding and selling. It's about healing. And you asked earlier, is Charlotte's Web the best? Actually, there's none of them are the best. Jayden Juice is not the best. Charlotte's Web's not the best. Nothing's the best. It's whatever works for your kid. And you have to trial and error. And it comes from extraction process, base, terpenes, cannabinoids. There's so much more to it than just CBD. I'm so sick of hearing the word CBD. CBD is a joke. Okay, guys? You want to heal your kid, and earlier she said something too. She said to herself, you have to monitor. That's our biggest problem, is having someone monitoring us. You need to read your body. That's our biggest problem in this world. We need to start reading our bodies. If I could do it with my son that can't speak since he was 4 years old, giving him 22 pills a day, 25,000 pills by the time he was 5 years old, not a day without a seizure. Thank God a million times. I got to thank him a million times, because if without faith and hope, we wouldn't be where we're at today. First things first, is not just that, it's healing a whole family, because when a child is sick, the whole family is sick. And this is my biggest thing that I see, is that we have to bring good energy in this family. Parents are going through depression, they're yelling at each other, screaming at each other, don't sleep, insanity. I get it, I've been there. I went through divorce, I've lost everything, but thank God I've learned how to work with my ex-wife now, co-parenting amazingly, my son's best days of his life. There's always one strong one in the family and one that sits back and can't do nothing. I get that. And what you have to do is you have to figure out a way to work together. And transferring good energy to a child is the most important thing. Everyone's going to sell you a product and all that. Screw the products. How are we going to heal the whole family? Cannabis is one piece of the puzzle. There's so much more to it than that. What you really need to do is find a holistic doctor and do a few different things. First thing you need to do is you need to do a metals test. You need to find out, has your kid been poisoned from thimerosal, from mercury, arsenic, lead, all that stuff. My son has it. There's a reason how it got into his system. I'm sure you guys know what that is. Second thing is, you guys need to do a food panel test. You want to know what's causing inflammation in your gut? That's our biggest problem that the doctors do not fix, is the gut. The gut's the second brain. We have to attack that gut. Why is every one of our kids constipated? They're trying to tell you their stomach hurts. Why are these kids getting aggressive, behavioral? They'll blame it on your child. It's not your child, it's the pills they're taking. It's attacking that gut. You want to know how your kid feels? Take those pills. Take those pills. You want to know how your kid feels. Why is my kid trying to kill me? Why is he trying to kill himself? Take the pills. And not just that, each one of those pills is a sodium channel blocker, calcium channel blocker, and all different types of channel blockers that are causing a million different problems. It's side effect after side effect after side effect. You see a doctor once every 4 months to give you a drug, see you later, I want you out of my office. And the question I always ask to people is, when they come to my office, we treat over 75,000 patients. We have 1,200 children we treat. Our youngest patient is 2 months old, our oldest is 99. We do support groups at my store so we can educate our community, bring the community together so we can ask each other. Because guess who knows more than any doctor or anyone else? We do. Because we know what we live it every day. We know the best research. If they don't know, they say, hey, this is what we don't know. This is what Dravet syndrome is. This is what Lennox-Gastaut is. You know what you should be doing is putting the parents together, asking questions, what's working? Because going to the doctor every time, it's like going to a mechanic that keeps on ruining your car. Are you going to keep on doing that with your car? Absolutely not. Then why do we do it with our children or ourselves? Okay, when are you going to stop at? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 pills? We had a little kid in my office with 68 pills a day. 68 pills a day, 9 years old. He's dead now. Kidney failure. It's very frustrating what we're seeing out there. We're over-drugged. It's not just our children, it's every child out there. It's becoming not even an epidemic, it's a crisis. The pharmaceuticals are a problem. Let's get down to it, okay? That's what the real problem is. The more you get off the pharmaceuticals, the better you're gonna get. When you stray away from Mother Nature, you screw things up. I'm not a doctor, but I'm a dad that loves my son. And I'll tell you how I feel from my heart, because I believe and I see it on an everyday basis. We try not to cry 10 times a day at our store. When we see these stories come in, it's the same thing. The more pills you get off of, the better you get. The hard thing is getting off the pills. Your kid's a drug addict. We're dependent on it because we've been tricked. They give it to us like M&Ms, benzos, Onfi. You want to know why your kid feels? Go talk to someone that's adult on benzos trying to get off. Go on Facebook, Benzo Buddies Withdrawal Syndrome, Benzo Buddy Solutions. Ask people. That's when you understand what's going on with your child. If our kids don't communicate, my son doesn't communicate. How did I get him off from 22 pills down to 1? I took him off, and he had a great point in the beginning when he said, when people come in, they want to get their kids off the meds. Absolutely want to, but you have to do everything one thing at a time, because when you do more than one thing at a time, you screw things up. So when my son I used cannabis I gave it to Jayden the CBD for about a month. We saw huge success. It's the first time I've ever seen Jayden go a day without a seizure. From 300 grand mal seizures in the bathtub to 0, because sudden temperature change is gone, febrile seizure is gone. And what happened is, after 1 month, I realized that this is working better than any medication I've given Jayden. So what I did was, I started weaning him off. I did one thing at a time. I weaned him off steripental because that was the last drug we put him on. I took him off steripental. Jayden stopped screaming and crying. We started sleeping. We took him off Topamax. We started chewing. We took him off Depakote. He started walking. We took him off. We're almost all the way off the last benzo, but I go very, very slow because he has brain zaps and other issues. And what happens is the withdrawals are a freaking nightmare. There's nothing worse. And you have to go very slow. You don't go at the doctor's pace. You don't go at your pace. You go at your child's pace. And you're saying monitoring. You're with your kid 24/7, or you're with yourself 24/7. You're the one understanding your body. You have to write down notes. You're the best researcher for yourself. The best MD for your child, mom and dad. All right? Mom and dad. Whatever your gut says, you go with it. When you go to the doctors next time, you say, hey, show me all your like when you go to a mechanic, you want to see all the cars being fixed that are looking really good, so you could go to that mechanic. You want to see that with your children. And we go into a doctor's office and say, hey, I want to see all the kids doing good in here. When I was going to Stanford, every time I walked into the office, every kid, it was the same protocol. Wheelchairs, purple lips, dying, seizures, VNS, cut out the brain, feeding tube, ventilator. It's the same story over and over again. This is not success. When it comes to my support groups, November 17th at my store, we have a support group. I beg everyone to come to see all the other families and all the other people and see the results. And it's not just cannabis, it's hope. That's what they get, is hope. Because that's what our biggest problem, we've lost hope. We don't see our kids getting better, because guess what the doctor told us? This is what LGS is. This is what Dravet syndrome is. When I go on these websites and they say, this is what Dravet syndrome is, bullshit, excuse my language, it is. Okay, you know what it is? It's drug syndrome. That's what our kids have, drug syndrome. All right, you want to know how your kid feels? You start having seizures, you can't walk. Your kid's walking like you have, what do they say, ataxia? Well, think if you drink alcohol every single day and you start having that drunk walk. Well, what do you think they're doing with the drug walk? All right, that's what's happening to our kids. The less pills you are on, you're gonna get better. I guarantee it. There's a reason why you have seizure. Let's figure out what the underlying issue is, and that's what the biggest problem is. We don't figure out the underlying issue. Vitamins, minerals, food inflammation to the gut. That's one of the biggest problems. Every time you hit each one of these things, you're gonna fix your kid. And that's what we came here to do, is to fix our children, okay? Right?
Yes.
Do you guys wanna see your kids get better?
Yes.
Then you guys don't give up hope and you get good energy. You never give up. You keep on fighting, because when you're kids, you're their whole life. You're their doctor. You're their superhero. You are the only reason why they're surviving and living. But we have to make right decisions, and we have to make smart decisions and research everything anyone tells us. I always tell people, don't believe me, don't believe the doctor. Research it. What made my son get better was when I started going to epilepsy meeting and talking to adult epileptics. How does Topamax make you feel? How does Depakote make you feel? How does this make you feel? And then I started figuring out, you know what? My son's a drug addict. 22 pills a day, 25,000 pills by the time he was 5. That is sick. That is sick. For people that are senior citizens that are taking pills for 10 years from 50 to 60, they're dying by 60 with 100 different things. Why do you think our kids die? Because of epilepsy? Now, they don't just have epilepsy, they have 20 different problems with epilepsy. That's the problem, okay? So, you're asking about the CBD hemp thing and all that stuff. It's not one size fits all. Everyone is different. Dosing, you start at a small dose, you move up. You jot down notes. You make smart decisions. All right? Like for me, as I start with half an ml, so I start all my patients, I was half an ml 3 times a day. Keep it an hour away, half an away for your meds, but this is not true with everyone. Some kids are doing amazing giving it at the same time. It's just everyone is so all over the place. But there's nothing more safer than cannabis. God doesn't make mistakes. And I'm not trying to push my religion or faith on you, but I ain't lying. Do your research, all right? First things first is, he was right, the endocannabinoid system is very important. 97% of the families that come into my store haven't breastfed their kids for over 2 months. Guess what we give our kids in our breast milk? Of course, the cannabinoids. So guess what happened? Endocannabinoid deficiency. Everyone gives Similac. Guess what Similac does to our kids' guts? It rips it apart. It doesn't let them absorb vitamins and minerals correctly, and that's what the big problem is. There's a reason why our kids are having seizures. Let's figure it out. We can't throw our hands up and saying this is what it is and this is where it's at. No. If you see a pattern that's happening every day, what are you doing every day that might be causing that seizure? You know, I see people on a ketogenic diet for 2 years, 3 years. How's it going? Having seizures every day. Then why the hell are you on the ketogenic diet? I don't understand. Let's use some common sense. And we have to we listen to too many people instead of listening to our gut and doing our own research. You are going to make the difference in your kid, but you have to make the right decisions. Stop listening to people and do your own research and figure it out. So like I said, CBD is one thing, but it's not just CBD. There's different terpenes, cannabinoids, extraction process, base, also THC, THCA, absolutely. There's 100 different things, you know. We have some kids that are doing amazing with our tincture. We have some people doing amazing with our like a Rick Simpson oil, full spectrum oil. It's all, everyone's different. Everyone's different. We have a 3-year-old that's taking 15 drops of THC for epilepsy and working amazing. If I took 15 drops of THC, I'd be asleep right here. I'd be laughing and giggling, dancing around this room. One of the two. Me too, exactly. And it's not a bad thing. That's what I always tell people is, you know, one time I went to Minnesota to a Dravet syndrome support group meeting out there, and I met Dr. Dravet and everyone. And there was a doctor out there. He put up a PowerPoint of 3 kids smoking weed. It was 3, 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And he said, don't believe in cannabis. It's voodoo. This is Dr. Ian Miller at University of Miami. I'm not ashamed to say what happened that day. He got up there and started talking trash about cannabis and the parents using cannabis. At that time, I was the only one in the room that was doing it at that time. And I grabbed the microphone from the people, and I said, Dr. Ian Miller, I heard you say you dedicated your life to Dravet. Did you dedicate your life to Dravet, or did you dedicate your life to Dravet to making money off Dravet? Because I'm the one that dedicated my life to Dravet. I live with it 24 hours a day. Have you sat in a room while the kids are seizing and crying and about to go into a seizure, feeling that aura? Have you slept in the hospitals with the parents while they're sitting there dying and the moms and dads are fighting, about to lose everything in their life? Are you dealing with the medical bills? Are you dealing with the hospital? You know, Jayden had taken 300 shots of Valium, rectal Valium, the first 5 years of his life. Thank God a million times. In the last 7 years, we haven't given him rectal Valium in 7 years. Grand mal seizures from 1.5 hours, they're down to 30 seconds. His life isn't perfect, but his quality of life's a million times better, and I'll take that any day. And you know, sometimes I see these kids that are so sedated, they're walking around, they're like zombies, and they say that's Dravet. That's not Dravet, that's drugs. That's drugs. They said my son wouldn't walk, he's running. They said my son wouldn't talk, he's trying. The other day I was all, I love you, Jayden, I love you, and that's my goal, is I want to hear him say I love you. You know what he says to me? You, and he's looking in my eyes. I never had that. I'll take anything I get. Every time everyone played the Mega Millions, I won the Mega Millions when my son says that. I won that. I'm rich as hell from that. Just seeing my son get better every day, not just that, everything will keep on getting better. Your life, your family will keep on getting better, all right? Healing the family, that's the most important thing. No one sees what we see behind the doors. They see epilepsy, autism, products, bullshit. All right, I'm sorry to cuss because this is how it is for me, is I see parents being ripped apart. In my office, 90% of the time, I'm breaking up parents from fighting, or people crying and dying, saying, you know what, my husband's not doing anything, my wife's not doing anything. And I see it on both sides. I see a lot more moms fighting for than dads, but there is dads out there that are fighting too. And it's hard. Everyone handles depression differently. But instead of knocking someone, you have to pick that other person up. Someone has to be that backbone. Someone has to help the other person. And it's for the child, you know. And that's what I think was the biggest thing, is helping out the whole family. Everyone has to get better. This is the best days of Jayden's life, and I've been blessed. And the reason why is because I help my family instead of knocking it down when I used to. I've made the mistakes. I've yelled at my ex-wife. I've done mistakes, you know. And I've learned from seeing it from patients. When they come to my office and I'm sitting with them and I ask them questions, I learned that, you know what? It's a transfer of energy, of bad energy we're doing to our children. They hear that. Even though you think your kid doesn't know what's going on, they know what's going on. They hear tone of voice. They see body language, they feel that. They need to feel good energy. They want to see you guys happy. Like, these are the best days of, like, whenever I hang out with Jayden and his mom and we go do things, I could see there's something there's a glow around him. Like, nothing could stop him. Yesterday, we went to church and Jayden stood up. It was like they were praising, and I'm not pushing my religion on anyone. This is what happened to what I do. I believe in. And he was sitting there. He got up and he started dancing and fist pumping and smiling and laughing. And he's in love with his DVD player. I'm sure everyone knows what their kids get infatuated with one thing, So he's sitting there. He took away his DVD player, sitting there for an hour and a half. He got up and he was fist pumping and dancing and giggling and laughing. And if that wasn't the Holy Spirit touching him, then nothing else was. You know what I'm saying? It came out of nowhere. How is it at the right time, at the right place it happened? Because you know what? It's the transfer of energy. Cannabis is one piece of the puzzle. You have to find out what's the bottom line issue of your child. All right? That's what it is. It's not EEGs are telling your kid has seizures. Okay, great, good job. Our kids have seizures. Okay, what do we do to fix it? And we're not going to give up. We're going to keep on fighting for our children. All right? You got to keep on trialing and erring. If without trial and error, you're not going to find out what works and what doesn't. Okay? You have to be that researcher. I don't want to keep up here all day long, but if you have any questions, I'm here. Do you have any questions if you guys like to ask, or anything about cannabis or how to fight for your child? Yes, ma'am.
You keep talking about your office. What is your office?
I have 2 dispensaries in Northern California called Jayden's Journey, one in Modesto and Ceres, California. We also have an extraction facility. Everything is licensed. I do free consultations at my store. We also have a huge support group coming up November 17th. It's not just for the children, it's for the families too. Every so often we do it for veterans, cancer, epilepsy, autism, all types of rare gene disorders, and also vaccine poisoning. Sorry, say something? It's in Modesto, California. You can look up Jayden's Journey. It's coming up on November 17th from 2 to 4. So what we'll be doing there is we'll be having bouncy houses for the kids. We have food for the families. We also have a wine company donating wine baskets for the families for respite care, because we need some respite too. We're tired. We're all sick too, believe me, I feel it. But once you start healing yourself, your kid's going to get healed. I guarantee it. You can look it up, Jayden's Journey. If you want to see what I've done, you can look up Jayden David at YouTube, or Jayden's Juice is our product. I'm not just here for the product. I'm here to help out people. Like let's see what's going on. Let's really help the person get better. And when you come to these support groups, that's why I ask people to come to support groups. Meet the other families, hear the stories, see the stories. It's in front of your face. You can't deny it. Let me finish up about Dr. Ian Miller thing. I forgot. So I asked Dr. Ian Miller that, and I asked Dr. Ian Miller, I said, if you dedicated your life to Gervais, if someone told you Pepsi would work, you'd research Pepsi instead of knocking cannabis. And he was knocking cannabis, saying it was a joke. He said it was voodoo. So earlier he was talking about pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is just one after another. Who's healing from that? It's masking the symptom, it's sedating the brain. It's not making things better. At that meeting, when the parents came up to me, he goes, you're the one that gets your kid high, right? And I said, you're the one that gives your kid crack, right? He goes, what do you mean by that? I said, you give your kid Onfi? I said, you give your kid Onfi? He goes, yeah, I give my kid Onfi. I said, that's a chemical high, all right? I said, why don't you take one of those pills and call me and tell me how it feels? And he goes, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not stupid. His wife messages me on Facebook 3 weeks later when they're back in New Jersey. And she says, hey, you know what? She goes, you won't believe it, my husband took a pill. I said, what happened? He started having seizures. The side effects from all the medications we give for seizures are seizures. You guys read them? Let's open our eyes. If your kid's having seizures every day and you're taking all those pills, what do you think you're giving them every day that might be causing those seizures? You see what I'm saying? Any more questions? Yes, sir. Yes, we have a booth right there. Afterwards, I have to use the restroom real quick, but you guys come by afterwards. But go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for sharing that strong story.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I want a hug from you earlier on. That's how you transfer your energy, is giving love. That's the most important thing. Things are going to get better, I promise you. Whatever is wrong, I swear to you, you just have to look ahead and know that it's going to get better. If you keep on thinking, it's like you're cursing yourself. This is what my son's going to be. If you keep on saying that, yeah, it's going to happen. I'm like, if you say, no, it's not going to happen, this is what my son's going to be, is what you put into it. You're the one that makes the decision where your kid's going to be. You, not the doctor, if you keep on listening to their protocol, yeah. How do we know their protocol is the best? Because they're taught from pharmaceutical companies, aren't they? I work with about 10 doctors that come in my store. I have a surgeon. This is a story with a surgeon. Comes into my store with his son that's 17 years old trying to kill his wife. His wife came in beforehand and said, you're never going to convince my husband to give my son cannabis. He's 17 years old, epilepsy and autism, very aggressive, trying to kill me, trying to kill himself. He doesn't eat, he doesn't sleep, he doesn't poop. Seizures every day. So the mom comes in and tells me, I said, don't worry, bring him in, let's see what we can do. He comes in, he starts yelling at me, going crazy, slamming my table, saying, who the hell are you? I'm a doctor, I spent $400,000 on my degree, I believe in science. Everything you're saying is anecdotal. I said, all right, I have faith, so I said, please put the right words in my mouth. Like I see the mom about to cry, she's like, this guy's not gonna convince him. And every time he came out saying something, I said, Doc, I got one question for you. And I said, I'll tell you who I am. I'm a father loves my son. I go, you love your son? I said, yeah, I absolutely do. I said, you believe in science, right? He goes, yeah, I told you I spend this much money on my degree. I believe in science. I said, what medication is your son on? He's all phenobarbital, Keppra, and I think it was Topamax. And I said, there's science behind those medications, right? He said, yeah, absolutely, there's science behind them. I go, how is science working for you? And right when I said that, you could see a light bulb turn on in his head. He comes back 3 weeks later, gets the medical marijuana card, gets it for his kid. He comes back in 3 weeks later. I said, Doc, how's it going? He said, I just want to say thank you. I go, for what? He goes, thanks for the 3 best weeks of my whole entire life. I said, what happened? He goes, my son's seizures are down 90%. He's eating, sleeping, and pooping. That's one of the most important things. You know how pooping is for us. And then not just that, he's also very happy. And the side effects from cannabis are 3 necessities of life. I call them side benefits: eating, sleeping, being happy. No one's ever died from cannabis. The medications you give your kids, 250,000 people die a year from them. 250,000. No one says a freaking word about that. And that's the stuff that we don't even really know. There's probably much more than 250,000. It's not an epidemic. It's a crisis right now. The pharmaceuticals, what they're doing to people. Everyone's on pills, and it starts from the child to the grandma, because everyone's anxiety, stressed out. Well, that's anxiety and stress out, and all that stuff is. There's a way of healing that without sedating your brain or taking heroin or crystal meth with a name brand. There's a way of healing. And for that dad, he said that my favorite thing about the whole thing is not just he's doing good, he's not trying to beat up my wife, but we reconnected. And they're using cannabis, the doctor's using cannabis, they reconnected. Peace, love, and happiness in the 70s for a reason. It does make peace, love, and happiness. I see my kid hugging and kissing and loving. That's not a bad thing. Being happy is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Not just that, he said the best thing about it is when my son walks up to me, it's very hard to get him to sign language. He walks up to me about a bottle of Jayden juice and sign languages to me. I want the Jayden juice. And if that doesn't mean, right then I started tearing up. And right when he said that, I started tearing up for that parent, for that patient. Right behind me, another patient tapped me on the back and said, hey, my son does the same thing. I was like, wow. So for us, everyone has their own thing. We're doing God's work. And I really believe it. And it's not about a product, it's about healing. And that's the most important thing. We got to heal people. Let's sit there and help people. Let's get the community together. No one, even our own family, doesn't understand us. I know going to birthday parties with Jayden when we were younger, and I had to run out because I knew Jayden was about to have a seizure. And I was like, why are you going? I'm like, I can tell the seizure's coming. Oh, you're just stressed out. No, you don't know our family. They don't have the sleepless nights. They don't know that. No one knows that. We know each other. We're actually more family than anyone else. We relate better than our best friends because we live it. Do you understand what I'm saying? We live it. Like when he was talking to me, I see myself. I see myself a few years ago. Start getting it. Start going the right direction. Everyone has a different feeling. That's the way I feel. And this is my opinion. I'm only a dad, and this is my experience. No doctor, no nothing. Like I said, for me, best MD for a child is mom and dad. You're with your kid 24/7. You understand your child better than anyone else. You have to do the research. Sorry. If you guys like to come see me over there. Thank you.